Have you ever stopped to think about how everything can change overnight? The truth is that we are living in critical times, and the Antichrist is closer than ever. It's time to wake up and face reality, as the end times are approaching rapidly. Many people are still distracted, but you don't have to be one of them. In this video, we will explore the prophecies unfolding before our eyes and how you can prepare to face these challenges. Change is inevitable, but the good news is that you can find hope and security amid this storm. Don't wait until it's too late, watch now and discover how to protect yourself and live with purpose. Now, let's move on to the first topic, but first, just check if you're subscribed to the channel, because the next videos will be a series of content that will help clarify your doubts about the prophecies. One crucial time. Imagine you are in a movie theater, surrounded by friends and family, as the projector light illuminates the huge screen in front of you. The movie begins, and you feel a wave of excitement rush through your body, as if you are about to embark on a great adventure. The captivating music plays in the background, and the first scenes unfold, revealing a world full of mystery and magic. You feel completely immersed in that story, rooting for the hero to overcome the challenges, as the special effects make your heart race. But look around you. Some people are chatting excitedly, laughing, and distracted by their phones, completely oblivious to the thrilling plot unfolding before them. You lean forward, trying to catch someone's attention. Hey! Look at this! It's amazing! But they don't hear you, missing a precious opportunity to experience a story that could change everything. This is very much like what is happening in our world today. We are living in a crucial time, where prophetic events from the Bible are unfolding before our eyes. Imagine that the Bible is a great book of stories, full of epic adventures and valuable lessons. Now, as the pages are being turned quickly, new signs and revelations are emerging, like clues in a mystery that lead us to a deeper understanding of what God is doing. We are in the midst of an extraordinary narrative, and each of us has an important role to play. It's easy to get distracted, isn't it? Every day, we are bombarded with information from all directions. Video games, TV shows, social media, everything is like an amusement park calling to us. Imagine you're playing a game of hide and seek. You're counting to 20, and when you finally look around, you realize all your friends have hidden in places you never expected. If you're not paying attention, you might miss the chance to find them. Just like that, many of us might be missing the messages that God has left us, distracted by the things of the world surrounding us. These messages are like stars shining in the night sky, guiding us through the darkness. God gave us the Bible as a map containing directions and warnings about what's happening around us. He wants us to be like explorers, ready to uncover the secrets hidden beneath the surface. Imagine yourself as a little detective, with a magnifying glass in hand, examining every detail around you, searching for clues that reveal the truth. But what if we miss this opportunity to see? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that all this time, you've been so distracted that you didn't notice the important changes happening around you. The warnings God tried to show us went unnoticed, like a soft song playing in the background while you worry about the distractions around you. And what if, instead of participating in this incredible adventure, we decided to stand still, missing the chance to experience the wonders He is bringing to us? That's why let's pay more attention together. Let's open our eyes and ears, as if we are waiting for the great revelation that is about to happen. God is calling us to be alert, to recognize the signs that something grand and powerful is about to unfold in our lives. Each new day is a new opportunity to understand and live out the promises He has for us. Let's embark on this exciting journey together. Let's become the protagonists of our stories, ready to face challenges, perceive signs, and embrace every lesson God offers us. Just like in a movie full of twists, the ending can be much more surprising than we imagine. And our role is to be ready, with open hearts and attentive spirits, to live this great adventure. So, what do you think? Are we ready to stay alert and prepared for everything that's to come? Let's be part of this amazing story that God has for us. Ebook, Warning: The Truth You Need to Know. Warning. Have you ever stopped to think about what's happening in the world? Imagine yourself in a movie theater, watching a horror film, as the tension builds and you realize you are about to discover a secret that could change everything. This secret is about the arrival of the Antichrist, a prophetic figure that many believe is closer than we think. At this crucial moment, apocalyptic events are unfolding before our eyes, and God's warnings are being ignored by many. The distractions of daily life are causing many to remain oblivious to these terrifying truths. What if you are one of them? What if, while everyone around you stays distracted, you miss the opportunity to prepare for what's to come? High voltage, don't be caught off guard. High voltage, discover the signs and revelations happening now and how to protect yourself spiritually. This is not just a guide, it's an urgent alert for those who wish to understand the true battle that is approaching. Alarm clock, but be careful. This is an exclusive sale with a special discount for 24 hours. Information on how to secure your access is in the comments and the description. Don't let this opportunity slip away. Time is running out, and every second counts. Prepare yourself and become one of the few who will be ready to face the challenges that lie ahead. Click now and start your journey of discovery. Your spiritual safety may depend on it. 2. Waking up to reality. As followers of Christ, we have the responsibility to open our eyes and understand the reality around us. This means we need to be attentive to the messages and warnings that the Bible offers us about current times. We live in a world full of distractions, where daily routines can make us forget what truly matters. Waking up to reality is like waking from a dream. Many people are so engrossed in their lives, on social media, in movies, and in the news, that they do not notice the signs being shown. It is important to remember that God is always communicating with us, and the Bible is one of the ways He uses to guide us. Discerning the times means observing what is happening around us and questioning, what does this mean? How does this relate to what God has taught us? We must be alert to events that may seem common but have a deeper meaning. For example, the difficulties we face, social changes, and conflicts can be signs that we need to turn to God and seek His guidance. Moreover, by waking up to reality, we can protect ourselves from spiritual traps. When we are alert, we can recognize the influences that steer us away from the path God desires for us. This helps us make wise decisions and live according to biblical principles, which bring us peace and security. How can we do this? First, it is essential to dedicate time to read and study the Bible regularly. This helps us better understand God's plans and discern the signs of the times. We should also pray, asking God for wisdom and discernment to understand what is happening around us. Additionally, it is important to gather with other Christians. Sharing experiences and insights with friends or in Bible study groups can help us see things from a new perspective. Together, we can encourage each other to stay alert and focused on what truly matters. Waking up to reality is an invitation to live with more intention. It is an opportunity to connect more deeply with God and with our mission in this world. By doing so, we become more capable of facing challenges and living in harmony with divine plans. Therefore, let us open our eyes, listen to what God has to say, and prepare for all that is to come. Waking up to reality is essential for living according to what God desires for us. Now, we're moving on to the next topic, but first, I noticed that you haven't liked this video yet. It's very important for YouTube to continue promoting our content so we can help even more people. So, if you're enjoying the information we're sharing, please give us a like. It's free and makes all the difference. Now, let's continue and explore what is happening around us with the next topic. 3. The path to the Antichrist. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by mountains and dense forests, a group of friends gathered every night in the shade of a large tree. The starry sky above them seemed like a cloak of mysteries, and the air was filled with the sweet smell of wood burning in the crackling fire. It was a moment when the worries of daily life dissipated, and the oldest and most fascinating stories began to flow. One night, as the flames danced like free spirits, Lucas, one of the more curious friends, posed a question that had been on his mind. Do you think we will ever see a ruler so powerful that he will have control over everything we do? His gaze reflected the light of the fire, while the other friends exchanged intrigued glances. What would this ruler be like? Asked Anna, her voice soft but full of curiosity. Maybe he would have the power to decide how we should live, what we can buy, how far we can go, and how we should worship. The idea began to take shape, and the flames seemed to conspire with them, illuminating their imaginations. That's frightening, exclaimed Pedro, the most cautious of the group. The stories we've heard talk of a leader called the Antichrist, who will come in times of great confusion and fear. He may seem charismatic at first, promising peace and easy solutions to difficult problems, but deep down, he would be deceiving people. The friends felt a chill in their stomachs as they considered this possibility. The flames crackled, making popping sounds as if the fire itself were whispering secrets. The sky, filled with stars, seemed to witness their concerns. What if we are so caught up in our routines, so distracted by life, that we don't notice when this Antichrist approaches? Lucas asked, his tone serious. Anna, always the wisest and most thoughtful, looked at each of them and said, we need to understand that the signs are all around us. What we are experiencing now, the rapid changes in the world, the struggle for control, and the pressures for everyone to follow the same path, are indications that the path to the Antichrist is forming. The Bible has already warned us about this. As the shadows danced around them, the group began to discuss how globalization and technology were interconnected. Each shared their concerns about how these changes were making the world more interconnected, but also more susceptible to control. Social media, mass surveillance, all of this can be used as tools to manipulate and control people, reflected Pedro, watching the flames reflected in his eyes. And what can we do to protect ourselves? Lucas asked, his voice carrying a tone of urgency. How can we ensure that we are not caught off guard by this powerful leader, the Antichrist? Anna took a deep breath and replied, we must strengthen our faith, study the scriptures, and remain alert. Prayer and knowledge of the Word of God will help us discern the true intentions behind the promises. We need to stand firm in our belief and united on our journey. With each word, determination grew among them, lighting their faces like the campfire. The feeling of fear began to dissipate, replaced by a new hope. If we are prepared and vigilant, we won't need to fear what is to come, Lucas said, with a spark of confidence in his eyes. God is with us, and we can face any challenge that arises. And so, under the soft light of the moon, the friends made a pact. They would be together on their journey, always ready to face the difficult times ahead. The campfire, which once represented a simple moment of friendship, now symbolized the light of truth and preparation. They understood that even though the path to the Antichrist was forming, together they could overcome any adversity. With lighter hearts and clearer minds, they left the clearing that night, ready to face whatever the future held. And the flame of the campfire, just like their faith, would continue to burn, lighting the way through the darkness. Wow! This conversation made us think, didn't it? I want to know what you think about this path to the Antichrist. Do you also notice these changes around you? Comment below, as I would love to hear your opinion. And don't worry, I'm here to help you understand all of this better and to prepare for the times to come. Let's embark on this journey together. 4. Worshipping the Antichrist. Once upon a time, in a city not much different from yours, there was a girl named Clara. Clara was curious and always sought to understand what was happening around her. One day, while exploring an old library, she stumbled upon a dusty book that spoke of prophecies and mysterious figures. Intrigued, she decided to take the book home, and as she delved into its pages, she began to encounter stories about a character called the Antichrist. As Clara read, she discovered that the Antichrist was described as someone who would arise in difficult times, promising to solve the world's problems and bring peace, but with one condition: everyone would have to worship him. The story said he would not only demand political loyalty but also a type of spiritual worship. But how could this happen? Clara wondered. She began to realize that throughout history, many charismatic leaders had emerged in times of crisis, offering simple solutions to complex problems. With the pressure from those around them, people began to follow these leaders blindly, even when their actions were questionable. Clara imagined a future where such a leader might rise again, promising a better world but at a very high price. In her reflections, Clara remembered something her grandmother always said: "Be careful who you put on a pedestal." This phrase echoed in her mind, and she recalled how easy it is to be swayed by the promise of security and stability, especially when one is afraid or uncertain. Looking at the current world, Clara realized that many were willing to give up their freedom and even their beliefs in exchange for a little comfort. She wondered, what if one day, this Antichrist really appeared? What would I do? The answer was clear: Clara did not want to be a blind follower. She decided that, even in the face of pressure, she would choose the truth and remain steadfast in her faith. She remembered the stories of others who, throughout the centuries, resisted the temptation to worship powerful figures who did not have the greater good in mind. Thus, Clara's story was not just about the Antichrist, but about the importance of discerning between what is true and what is false. By deciding to stay true to her values and to Jesus, she knew she could face any challenge the future might bring. Clara became a messenger, sharing her discoveries with friends and family, warning them about the traps of blind worship. She knew that everyone would face difficult choices, but she also understood that by maintaining faith and vigilance, they could stand firm against any temptation. Clara's story reminds us that worship should not be given lightly. In times of uncertainty, we must question ourselves and seek the truth, keeping our hearts and minds open to the warnings that surround us. After all, in a world full of empty promises, it is vital to choose the path that brings us closer to God and His truth, rather than leading us away. What do you think might happen if someone tried to impose forced worship? How would you prepare to resist that? Now, as we reflect on Clara's message and what we've learned, it's important for us to pause. Before moving forward, I want you to comment below about what you thought of this story and how it relates to your life. I'm here to help, and I want to know your opinion. 5. Globalization and Control. We live in an era where globalization shapes every aspect of our lives. From the way we communicate to what we consume, everything is interconnected in a vast web of relationships. This interconnection, while bringing opportunities for growth and diversity, also raises serious questions about the loss of individual control and the limitation of freedoms. The bright side of globalization. Let's begin by acknowledging the benefits that globalization has brought. With the ability to travel and easily connect with people from different cultures, we have the chance to learn and grow. We can participate in global events, such as the Olympics or the World Cup, where nations come together in celebration. Music and art also flow freely, allowing artists from diverse backgrounds to connect and influence each other. Moreover, globalization has brought technological advancements that make our lives easier. We can buy products from anywhere, access information in seconds, and even work remotely, connecting with colleagues from different parts of the world. These innovations have the potential to unite people around common causes, fostering greater understanding and international cooperation. The dark side, centralization of power. However, what many fail to realize is that this interconnection can create a scenario where power is concentrated in the hands of a few. As economies become intertwined, a small number of large corporations and governments can start to shape the rules of the game, often to the detriment of ordinary citizens. Consider how some companies wield so much power that they can influence political and economic decisions. This is known as regulatory capture, where private interests begin to overshadow the public good. A practical example can be seen on social media, where a few dominant platforms control the global narrative. What appears on your news feed is not merely a matter of algorithm, it is about who decides what is relevant and what is not. These decisions affect how people think, interact, and even vote. This is a form of control that many accept without question. Signs of control and the warnings of revelation. The Bible has already warned us about a future where a totalitarian control system may emerge, and Revelation 13 provides a clear vision of this. The verse describes a mark of the beast that will be imposed on everyone, without which people will not be able to buy or sell. This may seem distant, but in reality, we are witnessing the first steps towards this reality. The growing acceptance of digital identity systems and mass surveillance are examples of how technology can be used to control society. For instance, some governments are adopting digital tracking systems that monitor daily activities, from transportation to shopping habits. These systems may be justified as a form of security or efficiency, but in the long run, they can transform into tools of control. Sovereignty at risk. Furthermore, globalization can impact national sovereignty. When countries commit to following global guidelines, they may relinquish part of their autonomy. This means that decisions directly affecting our lives can be made by international entities or multinational corporations, without considering the needs or opinions of citizens. The feeling that we are losing control over our own lives can be frightening. The importance of critical awareness. In light of this scenario, it is vital that we become aware and critical citizens. We need to question not only what is presented to us but also whose interests these pieces of information serve. By uniting as a community and strengthening our faith, we can create a healthy resistance against any form of oppression that approaches. We must use the tools that globalization offers us to promote transparency and justice. Education and information exchange are essential to ensure that everyone has a voice. We need to cultivate a mindset of vigilance and always be aware of the changes around us, without losing sight of the values that guide us. Preparing for the future. Preparing for the challenges that come with globalization also means strengthening our ties as a community of faith. We should encourage dialogue and collaboration, working together to build a future where freedom and human dignity are respected. Therefore, as we move forward in uncertain times, remember that awareness and action are powerful. With faith as our foundation, we can face the challenges that globalization presents and remain steadfast in God's promises. 6. Interconnected technology. Once upon a time, in a world not so different from our own, there was a city called Techville. In this city, everyone was always connected. People used devices that allowed them to talk to friends on the other side of the world, control the temperature of their homes, and even monitor their health in real time. It was a world full of innovations, where technology made life easier and more convenient. However, amid all these technological wonders, something curious began to happen. More and more, people became dependent on these devices. On a sunny day, a young man named Lucas decided he wanted to go out and play in the park. He grabbed his smartphone, but instead of enjoying the nature around him, he spent hours staring at the screen, interacting with virtual friends while reality unfolded without him. As Lucas was glued to his screen, a group of scientists and leaders began to notice a pattern. With all this interconnection, it was easier for a small group of people to control the information and data of millions. Imagine a large maze of wires connecting all the devices, where a single wire could be pulled to manipulate the situation in someone's favor. This was not just about convenience, it was about control. The leaders of Techville, aware of this potential, began to discuss the need for security and control. They wanted to protect the city but were also concerned about the power they were accumulating. Thus, a system was created to monitor everyone's activities, claiming it was to protect citizens from invisible dangers. People initially accepted this as a way to ensure safety but soon became aware that they were losing something precious, their privacy. One night, while Lucas was trying to sleep, he couldn't stop thinking about how the technology that was supposed to make life easier was now shaping his decisions. He began to reflect on the difference between being connected and being controlled. He realized that, even in such a connected world, true freedom was slowly disappearing. With every notification he received and every app he used, he wondered, am I really in control of my life? Lucas's story is a metaphor for what many of us face today. We are in an era where our lives are increasingly interconnected through technology. And this, on one hand, is wonderful. We can connect with friends, learn new things, and access information instantly. But, on the other hand, this interconnection brings challenges and dangers that we must acknowledge. Technology is becoming a powerful tool that can be used for good or for control. We are living in a time where the information we share can be monitored, analyzed, and even manipulated. This leads us to question, how much are we willing to give up our privacy in exchange for convenience? Therefore, just like Lucas, we must be attentive and discern what is truly happening around us. Technology can be an incredible ally, but it can also become an instrument of control if we are not vigilant. We need to remember that as technology advances, it is our responsibility to ensure that freedom and human dignity remain at the center of our lives. By doing so, we can use technology as a positive force to build a better future while always maintaining our connection with God and with one another. 7. Digital identity. Once upon a time, in a city called Conexopolis, where digital life and real life were so intertwined that many people could barely distinguish one from the other. Citizens were known not only by their names but also by their digital identities. Each person had an online profile that represented their personalities, likes, friendships, and even dreams. This digital identity was like an ID card but in the form of pixels, and it was extremely valuable. Among them was Felipe, a curious 12-year-old boy. He was passionate about technology and loved exploring the digital world. One day, he received a new smartphone as a birthday gift. With a sparkle in his eyes, he immediately began setting up the device, eager to create his profile on social media. As he added photos, hobbies, and his favorite songs, Felipe felt he was shaping a version of himself for the world to see. Every like, every comment made him feel special, as if he were building a little fame among his friends. However, while he immersed himself in this new online life, something subtle yet concerning began to happen. One day, while browsing a video site, he noticed that after watching a clip of his favorite artist, his screen began showing ads for products related to sports, fashion, and even video games. It was as if the world had eyes, watching every move and interest of Felipe. At first, he thought it was amazing, but soon he wondered, who else is watching me? Meanwhile, in the meeting rooms of Conexopolis's leaders, a crucial discussion was taking place. They were concerned about the safety and privacy of citizens. To address these issues, they decided to implement a new digital identity system. This system promised to simplify citizens' lives, making access to essential services, purchases, and even electoral processes easier. The idea seemed fantastic. Instead of multiple passwords and documents, just one click would grant access to everything. However, as the system spread, Felipe began hearing unsettling stories. Friends reported that, for some strange reason, they couldn't access certain services because their digital identities were tainted or incomplete. A friend of Felipe's, named Ana, had her job application denied because an analysis of her profile revealed that she had shared some party photos, which were misinterpreted. The story spread, and concern began to grow among the youth. One night, Felipe, restless, decided to lie down earlier, but his mind was agitated. He grabbed his smartphone and scrolled through social media. While reading the latest news, an alert caught his attention. Attention, citizens. Your personal data is at risk. Protect your digital identity. He was surprised to realize that, although he had built his digital identity, he had no control over how his information was being collected and used. It was as if Felipe were inside a large maze, where the walls were shifting and changing places. He remembered when he was little and hid in a game of hide and seek. Now, he was the one who was hidden, but instead of playing, he was being watched. The freedom that once seemed so certain was becoming hazy. Felipe began to think about his options. He decided it was time to act. He talked to his parents and friends about the importance of protecting their personal information. Together, they created rules about what to share online and how to set privacy settings on their profiles. He realized that, although technology could be a powerful tool, it could also be a trap if they weren't careful. Like Felipe, many of us face the dilemma of digital identity. The digital age offers many opportunities but also presents serious challenges regarding control and privacy. It is vital for each of us to remain vigilant about what we share and how it can impact our lives. In this increasingly connected world, we must remember that our identity goes beyond an online profile. It's about who we truly are, our values, and how we relate to others. Therefore, just as Felipe learned to be more conscious about his digital presence, we also need to educate ourselves about the responsible use of technology. In the end, true freedom does not lie solely in connectivity but in keeping our privacy and dignity intact. By using technology wisely, we can ensure that it serves us and not the other way around, allowing us to build meaningful connections with those we love, both in the digital world and the real world. 8. Surveillance and control. We live in a world where mass surveillance is a reality that permeates almost every aspect of our daily lives. In many cities, the presence of security cameras has become so common that we hardly notice their existence anymore. They are positioned in strategic locations, at traffic lights, parks, shopping centers, and even at the entrances of residential buildings. The justification for this constant presence is always the same: to ensure public safety and prevent crime. However, this phenomenon raises serious questions about how far we are willing to give up our privacy in the name of security. The feeling of being watched can be uncomfortable. Imagine you are walking in the park with friends, laughing and having fun, but with every laugh, you wonder if you are being filmed. Constant surveillance can create an environment of self-censorship, where people feel pressured to modify their behavior, fearing the judgment of strangers. This reality is especially concerning for young people, who are in the process of forming their identities and may hesitate to express themselves freely for fear of repercussions. In addition to physical surveillance, the digital age has brought a new type of control: data collection. Every time we use the internet, interact with apps, or visit websites, we leave a digital trail. This trail can include information such as places we visit, products we buy, and even the opinions we express on social media. Technology companies and social networks collect and analyze this data to create detailed profiles of our habits and preferences. For example, if you frequently search for healthy recipes, you are likely to start receiving ads for food products and meal delivery services that align with those interests. However, this data collection is not just a marketing strategy. In many cases, this data is sold to third parties, who may use it in ways that we do not always have control over or knowledge about. The lack of transparency regarding how our information is treated and who has access to it is alarming. In some situations, the data may be used by governments or institutions to monitor activities, identifying individuals who speak out against policies or who participate in protests. This misuse of personal information can threaten freedom of expression and the right to assemble. The acceptance of surveillance and data collection is often reinforced by a feeling of insecurity. The media frequently highlights stories of crime and violence, leading the public to perceive a need for protection. This fear can lead people to accept surveillance as a necessary solution, without considering the long-term consequences. The question we must ask ourselves is, how far are we willing to sacrifice our privacy for a false sense of security? With the normalization of surveillance, our social life is also affected. The constant presence of cameras and the possibility of digital monitoring can make people hesitate to participate in open discussions or express controversial opinions. They may feel insecure about what they share on online platforms, knowing that their words could be analyzed and interpreted out of context. This can create an atmosphere of distrust and inhibition in social interactions, undermining community cohesion. Therefore, it is crucial that we have an open and honest conversation about the limits of surveillance and the importance of protecting our privacy. We need to discuss issues such as the ethics of data collection, the need for regulation, and the responsibility of technology companies to respect users' privacy. The right to privacy is one of the pillars of individual freedom, and as a society, we must fight to ensure that this right is respected and protected. To defend ourselves against this reality of mass surveillance, it is crucial that we take proactive measures. Here are some steps we can take. Education. Understanding how data collection works and what information is being collected is the first step to protecting our privacy. Online courses and tutorials can help clarify these processes. Privacy settings. Check and adjust the privacy settings on the social networks and apps you use. Limiting who can see your information and posts can reduce exposure. Use of VPNs, virtual private networks, VPNs, can help protect your online activity, making it more difficult for third parties to track your movements on the internet. Healthy distrust. Always question the terms of service and privacy policies of any app or service you use. If something seems too good to be true, it might be that you are paying with your data. Advocacy. Supporting initiatives that advocate for privacy and data protection is an effective way to promote change. Engaging with organizations that fight for stricter regulations on surveillance can make a difference. As we move into an increasingly digital and interconnected world, it is vital that we become more aware and informed about how our information is used and monitored. By doing so, we can ensure that technology and surveillance serve to protect us, rather than control us. Freedom and privacy are rights that we must value and protect in our society. Well, we've reached the end of the video. Up here, there's a related video. It's super interesting and connected to what we've been discussing. You'll want to check it out. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving content. See you in the next video.